We'll wait a few minutes. Get everybody's attention. Okay. Yes, yes.
Man, I'm about to share your show, man.
All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right.
We should have a few people coming in here soon. I'm sure.
Yeah. So I got 2 people watching. So it's going to be a great program. It's going to be a great, powerful program because I want people to definitely, because all we do is teach knowledge. It's all about knowledge. We pro knowledge. That's what we are. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta. The thing is, we have to. We gotta do this like we're in a courtroom. You know, we gotta present our case. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I'm looking at it. You know, people who, we all been through jury duty and stuff like that. So we know how the system works. So when we present our case and bring some documentation, then that's how we can have a solid case. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. Wait another minute. We just wait another few minutes and we get the show started.
Oh, excuse me.
All right.
Yeah, this is gonna be a powerful show, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that need to be spoken about.
I agree. Oh, okay. Let me see something. Okay. All right. Peace, Erica Howard. All right. So we'll just go ahead with the program, and eventually people will come in and join. Hold up, everybody. This is your RBG brother, Don Hollywood Jr., and coming to you with another exclusive program. I'm definitely excited. As you can see, the name of this program is the N word, the word spelled differently, but means the same. That's the name of this program. I'm gonna let my brothers introduce themselves, starting with POW.
Okay, peace to the listening audience. Yeah, it's your brother CJ from the Prisoners of War Radio. And today, we are going to be we're going to be putting this N-word on trial. As you can see from today's topic, it's the same word, just spelled differently. So I'll let my brother go next.
Peace to the chat. I thank you, brother Guy Nollywood, for inviting me and being on the panel with my brother POW, CJ POW. This is a very important topic for our for our neighborhoods, for our community. It's all about respect. So I appreciate this topic. I thank you for allowing me to be here. And this is your boy, Brother Bakari. I yield the mic.
Cool, cool. So, welcome. Thanks for coming through, brothers. And this topic was really from the forecast video, and I want to really make the argument even stronger. So that's the reason why we decide to discuss this issue that we have. What I will do, I'm going to show some videos and to show you how some people might think about the N-word. Some people might be for it, some people might be against it. So, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to present the videos, and then I'm going to let my brothers speak on what they have heard. So let's get it in. Let's get it in. I'm trying to turn this volume up. Okay. So right now I'm going to screen share one. Okay. Okay. Y'all see this?
Yep.
All right.
So y'all can see it.
So I'm gonna blow this up a little bit. Now, this is the teacher. This was a white professor. Now I won't say professor. I'm sorry. He was a white English teacher, and he's going to justify why the N-word N-I-G-G-A is different from N-I-G-G-E-R. And he got in trouble for it, for calling a young brother the N-word. Now I'm going to play you the video now. Hold on.
And a Jefferson County high school teacher has now received the longest suspension on record for calling a student the N-word. WHAS 11's defense.
Now y'all hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it, bro. Yep.
Okay, Bakari, can you hear it?
Yes, I can hear it.
Okay.
Renee Murphy investigates what happened and why in this story you'll only see on 11.
Valley Traditional High School is in the middle of a racial controversy right now. A teacher used the N-word towards a student. The word is only 6 letters long, but the impact is far-reaching. And we do want to warn you that some of the language in this story is strong, and it may offend you, it may offend some other people. But since the story is not just about the N-word, it's also about the teacher's intent and definition of the word, we have decided to leave it in the story for you to decide.
And what did he say specifically to you?
Sit down, nigga.
Keyshawn Chambers is a freshman at Valley High School, a Boy Scout, a football player, a member of the ROTC, an honor roll student. He was hanging around his teacher's classroom door in December. The teacher told him to sit down. And the teacher says that Keyshawn used the N-word first.
And I just kind of was stunned a second. Well, then get away from the door, nigga. And I repeated the same insult because that's sort of what I've been trained to do.
The school district says that is not what they trained English teacher Paul Dawson to do.
He tried to say I said it, and I didn't say it, and no one else in the class knows that I said it because I didn't.
Documents from the school investigation show that several of the students interviewed from Valley did not hear Keyshawn say the N-word first. Dawson says that students use the slang version of the N-word at Valley High School all the time. He says N-I-G-G-E-R is a racial slur, but says that students use N-I-G-G-A as often as they say dude or hey man. And Dawson says as much as he does not like the word, he still used the slang version to feel more comfortable with black students.
Why is this word used so frequently? So I just don't understand it, and I'm trying to understand it. I need help. Yes, I use nigga. I've used it. I admit it. I put the H on it to emphasize it's nigga. Nigga this, nigga please, nigga. Can you lend a nigga a pencil?
What kind of example are you setting for your students if you use a word that you don't want them to use?
Upon reflection, that's not good.
Dawson was suspended for 10 days without pay from January 9th to January 23rd, and he has to go to diversity training. He says that he's learned from this experience and hopes that others think twice before using the N-word.
I will never say any form of nigga. I'm cured of that.
Paul Dawson says that he is sorry for the way things were handled, but Keyshawn says that he is not looking for any apologies.
Apologizing is going to change the fact that it happened and he's not been punished.
And punishment in your mind is?
Him not having his job anymore.
Paul Dawson says that he wants there to be a steadfast policy in Jefferson County Public.
All right, now, fellas, what's your thoughts?
Okay, let me go first. Well, first of all, I agree with the young brother, man. I mean, this white man should have definitely lost his job. Now, I would have to say this. This is why, I am against and I advocate against black people trying to use that as a term of endearment, because white people are just patiently waiting. Like they're patiently waiting for any excuse in the book to be able to use that word. They love the N word. Like, even though it has been transformed, from its current, from its previous status, with the ER at the end, it's still the same thing, because basically what happened is this, black people, we were always, like discriminated against, man, called, the NIGGER word. So what we tried to do, we took that after so many years, hundreds of years of abuse, we took that name and tried to take the power back. So that's why you hear black people still using this word. I'm against it, but it's definitely not anything that should ever come out of a white person's mouth. To me, the way I look at it, it's just an excuse. It gives white people the excuse. I mean, since we saying it to ourselves, they believe that they can become accepted. That's why you see a lot of white people trying to, listen to rap music and with gold teeth and doing everything that black people do. And then my issue is they get a pass. It's like they get a pass. Like you get a pass just because you're from the hood. I mean, you're still white. You're still white at the end of the day. We know the history of the word. The history of the word is something very demeaning. It's a derogatory term. It was usually used by somebody white that was either lynching you, placing you on a rope onto a tree, beating you down into the streets, or pulling the trigger against you, man. So at the end of the day, I'm just hoping that black people wake up, and we just need to stop saying that word around people that's not us, man. I vote for just getting rid of the word completely, but I'll let my brother Bakari speak and voice his opinion.
All right, thank you, man. What you said was good, powerful. He should have been fired, like the young brother said, like POW said. There's no place for this word, especially a teacher using it toward this young student. Then have the nerve to say, "Well, he said nigga. He didn't say nigga." And I hate to hear people say that, because the nigga with the A, that's how we speak. We don't say brother, we say brother. I'm saying it like he said it, I'm mocking him. We would say sister, they would say brother, and they would say sister. That's how they speak. And it's time for us. It's time for us to stop giving them a pass, whether they're from our neighborhood or not. They don't deserve a pass. Like that one rapper guy, I don't even like to say his name, who snitched on everybody. When him and the rapper Adrian Broner, the boxer Adrian Broner, was having problems, he had black people with him talking about what he gonna do to this N-word, and they were co-signing it. The Mexican rapper who snitched on everybody.
It's 6ix9ine.
Him, yeah. Mm-hmm. They don't deserve a pass just because they try to steal our culture, and that's what they're trying to do. They try to steal our culture, then take it and use it against you, and then they're gonna prosper from our culture. So yes, he deserved to be fired. Now you get it, Mike.
Yeah, I definitely. Here's my take on this. Yes, he shouldn't gotten fired. Period. And as an adult, and if he claims to be a teacher, and if the young brother did say it, then he should have said, "Look, that word is not tolerated in this classroom." Or he should just report him to the principal office and told him why he's sent to the told him the situation. But here's the thing that I want to say this: we don't own that word. We never owned the word. They own the word because they invented the word, right? We're not. You got to understand, we didn't come from England. We're African people. We didn't come from England. We're not English people. Our native tongue is not our native tongue is not English. So that's his word. That's his word. They invented it. Now, I think, in my opinion, that we should, say, look, don't call me that word, or you're going to get dealt with. So like when I was growing up, that word was always a fighting word. It was a derogatory word, very derogatory. You could even use that word in the radio stations. So I can see him saying of using that word because they invented the word. They invented the word. It's in their language. We don't own English. They do. You see what I'm saying? So we gotta let that be known that when we say we own that word, no, we don't. We don't own that word. We're not English people speaking. We don't own the language. We don't even own the language. They own the language. They own the language. So we got to understand that. We got to understand language. We never used to call ourselves that. We never used to call ourselves that. So that's the problem what I have with our people. They want to claim something that's not theirs. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. If he's going to use it, okay, use it. But he need to face the consequences when he uses it. I'm not telling no white guy, hey, you can't use because you invented the word. It's your word. It's not ours. But there's consequences. Okay? There's consequences. You know what I'm saying? So we got to understand that. And just like I said on the forecast show, that word came from Spain, called negro. In Spain, that's a Spanish word. But the word did not mean person. It didn't mean somebody, a human being. It meant, as it was just a part of the color. It's a color, right? So it meant something like, the black table or black car. It meant something like it meant what you call property, right? So when the Europeans enslaved us, we was considered what? A thing, a property, people that didn't have any souls. So that's what the word came from. It was always something negative. It was never nothing positive. And then the reason why there's a difference between the ER and the A, because during slavery, especially in the South, the English language from them, we was forced to speak their language, and they were mixed up with the African dialect or the African accent. So everything ends with an A and an I with us. It's like if you speak to somebody, they might say mother, my father. Okay. Same thing with the N word. It was the same thing. We couldn't say it with the ER. That wasn't in our thing. That wasn't in our that's not how we speak. We didn't speak like with the ER and everything, what they consider proper, right? So if you look at the African countries, Nigeria, Liberia, everything is with the A and I. That's how we talk. But no one never said when they talk like that, those so-called black people, they talk like that because they're African people. They came from Africa. No one said that. But it's so weird to me that a Mexican can try to speak English and their word self, they're speaking how the best way they can, speak English the best way they can, mixed up with their Spanish language or their Spanish accent, and people can say, well, they talk like that because they're Mexican. Russians do the same thing. But we don't get a pass from that. We never got a pass because, oh, well, you're African people. That's the reason why y'all say things with an A and I. So we got to learn the history of that word. Now, I'm going to show another video, another clip, when Jay-Z come off and he's saying that, hey, it's okay to use the word. You know what I'm saying? Because we took the word and it's our word. And he tried to say that it came from hip hop. So I'm going to play you what he said, and I'm going to get y'all thoughts on that. Give me 1 second here. Close that one out. Okay. Pull this up.
I've been for not being a big fan of rap music because of misogynist lyrics.
Yeah, I hear it. I know it's kind of low, but I'm just trying to. I hope y'all hear it.
And because of
Yeah.
in the magazine, we discuss the use of the N-word and why I feel, everybody knows that I feel that we shouldn't be, singing the N-word. You obviously feel differently. And a little bit, and tell everybody why.
What we've discussed is more words. People give words power.
Yeah.
And for our generation, what we did was we took the word and we took the power out of that word.
Mm-hmm.
We turned a word that was very ugly and hurtful into a term of endearment. So, even when someone says there's still intention behind what you say.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much took the power out of the word. Because if we just start removing words from the dictionary, we just make up another word the next day. So we don't address the problem. The problem is racism. Right, that's really the problem.
So we disagree.
Yeah.
And what I said is, I guess my generation's just going to have to die out. We're just going to have to all just be dead. And then this morning I was saying, or from the grave, I'll be going, Jay, I still disagree. And the reason
you don't have to say that.
and the reason I feel that way, because my generation and generations before me, obviously, coming up through the civil rights movement, and I am where I am because there was a generation before me that fought for civil rights, and that word carries such a sense of hatred and degradation. And I always think about, when I hear the word, even when I'm at the concert and people are, screaming it at your concert, I think about Black men who were lynched, and that's the last word they heard. And so that comes from my generation.
Right.
Okay. So, okay, we agree to disagree.
No, which is a strong point, understandable.
Okay. I disagree. Okay, when beyond.
Now, what's your thoughts on what he said? He said that if we keep using the word, his thing is we're taking the power away from the word. Is that true?
Okay, I'll just give my brief thoughts on it. I don't know the entire history of, once Black people began calling each other, Nigga, but both of you brothers made some good points as far as the pronunciation is concerned. Like my brother Bakari was saying, how we, call our father or, our mother, or, what I'm saying, and stuff like that. But I personally don't believe even Jay-Z himself knows much about the history of the word, or anybody for that matter that gets up and make those type of statements. I know me personally, I do not look at that as a term of endearment, because usually it's associated with violence. Like inside of like the urban, in the inner cities, in an urban environment, in the Black community, when Black people use that against each other, is for the most part, man, it's in a negative light. Like you're trying to influence somebody to do something that they don't do. Like you don't normally hear like people, trying to influence you to do right, stay out of trouble, and go to school. You don't hear them really talking to, each other like that. But like when you brought up in the hood, yeah, you do have people, saying, "What's up, my nigga?" But, in the next sentence, it's like, let's go exploit this bitch. You hear me? So it's just like, man, it's very negative. It's very negative. So I don't think that's any type of excuse whatsoever. I know I don't take it lightly, man. When people call me that, I mean, I could be your brother. I mean, you could call me by my first name, by my nickname or whatever, but I'm definitely not your nigga. And I pass the microphone on that.
All right. Excuse me, that was powerful. My thing is, I agree with POW CJ. I'm definitely not your nigga. It go from a turn of endearment to what's up, my pardon my French, because I hate using the word what's up, my nigga, to I'm gonna kill that nigga. Did anybody watch the Malcolm X movie? Just listen how when they were calling Malcolm X, every time he answered the phone, you one dead red nigga. There's no term, there's no endearment in that. There's no love in that. The way it's used, the way it coming at you, the way you feel, the way they feel about it when they say it. And I go back to Haywood Brown. He spelled his last name Broun, a Jew, and he wrote in 1924. He wrote that once we get them to call themselves nigga, he was talking about how it sounds when it come off people's tongue. There's a ring that it had, how good it sounds. And he said once we get them to call themselves nigga, they have finally accepted the fact that they are nigga. So now they realize they are the worst thing on the face of the earth. This was all by design. And to say you're taking power because you use something that somebody used to belittle you. So now I'm taking power because I'm not going to let that word bother me. It bothers you. But those people that saying that, just listen to most of the people that really push that agenda. Those are the people that's getting paid in hip hop, and they make their money bragging on how they exploit their people. So, because there's no respect, they can brag on how they treat our women. They can brag on I'm gonna sell this some dope. We can brag on all of that, belittling ourselves and having no respect. So when it comes to that word to say we took the power from it, no, you didn't take power from anything. And I'm like brother POW right here. This guy who was Jay-Z, he probably doesn't know the history of the word, probably didn't talk to any of his elders, or anything to teach him about it, and we don't care what our ancestors have gone through. See, for the biggest thing, that's what it come down to. Not only do we not respect ourselves today, we don't respect what our ancestors went through, but we will respect, you got to vote. Our people died for the right to vote. So, well, why can't you say we not gonna use the N-word? Our ancestors died not to be called that. How about that? How about talk to like my grandmother? Like I say, I'm the youngest of 9. My father was the youngest of 7, born in 1920. My mother, 1927. My grandparents were born in the late 80s, in the 1800s. So just imagine, when I talk to people from that era, that word was not condoned at all. Actually, it was a whooping in my house because of how people treated them and used them with that word. And just like Oprah said, when you're being hung from that tree, the last word you probably hear is nigga. It doesn't make a difference what it was. That's what these people feel about us, and it's not a term of endearment, but it's time for us to wake up, and the people on this panel is trying to wake up the few that we can, and the people in the chat. But that's what we have to do. It's time for us to stop accepting anything from anybody, regardless if they're black. Stop worshiping other people's money, because Jay-Z don't care. So stop worshiping his money, saying it's okay for him to use the N-word, or he's a billionaire, he's a multi-millionaire, so it must make sense because he said it. No, that's how he made his money, belittling us, demeaning us. We are part of the oppression that we go through and complain about. I yield the mic.
I definitely agree with both of your brothers. I just feel like, hip hop. You got to understand, hip hop came from oppressed people. Just like the jazz and the blues. But it supposed to be, and hip hop was supposed to be a type of music to uplift us, at the same time out of oppression. You see what I'm saying? So, if the word was being used throughout hip hop, is because it was still under some sort of oppression. You see what I'm saying? But it didn't start out like that. You know what I'm saying? So we got to understand the music that came out from a dark place. Hip hop started in the Bronx in the ghetto. And our people were suffering. So, and just like with the word, it's an oppressive word. The N-word is is to oppress us. So we was considered property. We were considered nothing. So if the kids were using it, they felt inferior. Some of our children felt inferior. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, a lot of our babies don't know their history. They don't know they came from royalty. They came from one of the richest continent of the planet. It was funny. I was telling my daughter, and I was saying, when she was younger, and I said, look, I don't want you using that word. I don't want you using that N-word. She said, why, Daddy? And I was like, well, because it's a really bad word. And I said, if she used that word, I'm going to punish her. I thought I was going to punish her for it. Because we don't use that word in my house. Now, don't get me wrong. I like to listen to my 90s hip hop, but I make sure I play it in my room so my kids won't hear it. So I don't want, I'm not trying to create that environment that because I'm not raising no thugs. I'm not raising no hoodlums. I'm not raising no degenerate children. You know what I mean? So when they get older, and I would tell them, when they get in their teens or 20s, I would tell them, I said, look, if you're going to use that word, number one, don't use it in the house. And if you're going to use that word outside, you better be ready to fight. If somebody call you that word, you better be ready to fight. Because it's a derogatory word, and it's a very disrespectful word. Very disrespectful. This is the reason why I'm very clear that I don't want nobody calling me that word. And I'll let them know, if you call me that, I'll tell them one time, please do not call me that word. They call me that word again, I'm gonna say the most nastiest thing I could think of. So so they can get angry, so they can be mad, they can feel what I'm feeling. I want them to feel how I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying? That's why I would say the most dirtiest thing out my mouth. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to do that because that's not in my nature, but I know what that word have done to our people. Look what they talk about. Malcolm X said in his book. He said he'd been called the N-word so much he thought it was his name. From the same people who owns the word. We don't have, number one, we don't have no power of that word. We don't have power of the word. Because if we had power of the word, we won't be complaining about racism. If we have power of the word, we won't be complaining what these cops are doing, racial profiling us. Sandra Bland would still been alive. Eric Gardner would still been alive. So people need to stop with that bull, man. This is not a game. I get irritated, man. I get really irritated. People want to, oh, we own the word and we control the word and da da da. But our people are still dying. Well, but what did people saw the OJ case when Mark Furman, how he was using the N-word, framing black people? You know how many probably black people that he framed, innocent black people that he locked up? Come on, man, stop playing games, man. Stop it. Now I'm going to show you another video clip of what Fat Joe said. These Latinos, they something else too, man. These fucking Latinos, they are something else.
A lot of talk when her sister, B Nasty, came out using the N-word, defended it. And so
there's white niggers everywhere. And unfortunately, the word started as a racist thing many years ago. And we don't view it as that no more unless it's being really just the context of it. So, like, how can we tell everybody hip-hop is for everybody? How can we really tell everybody, yo, if you white, hip-hop's for you. If you Chinese, hip-hop's for you. If you fucking Arab, hip-hop's for you. And we say nigga all day. And they think that's what's cool. So if they like, yo, what's up, my nigga? Oh, shit, you a racist. You know they ain't really mean it racist. You know her sister ain't telling her, yo, what's up, my nigga, racist. She's saying, what's up, my nigga? You see what I'm saying? The craziest shit, I'm going to give you some breaking news, right? The craziest shit is Reverend Al Sharpton. This is some shit, and I shouldn't be telling you this, but Reverend Al Sharpton made a whole campaign against the word nigga. I swear to my mother drops dead. The first time I ever met Reverend Al Sharpton was with Don King, and Don King said, Reverend Al, do you know Fat Joe? He said, how am I gonna not know the realest nigga in New York? It's the first thing he told me ever in the history of mankind. It's my nigga, Fat Joe. I was like, mind boggled with the nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? So, it's fucked up. Started out racist. Somebody made it cool. Nobody can take the blame for that one because it's cool. Like, it's like, it's what it is. I'm sure I'm willing to defend her. I never met her in my life, and I'm sure she meant it as a term of endearment.
Now, if you old school and you grew up when segregation and you grew up when they was, you know, throwing water on people in Rosa Parks, then you take offense to that. You know, but
have you ever had an African American person tell you they're uncomfortable with you using the word?
My man, I was on radio in Chicago, and the chick interviewed me live on radio, and she was like, if you're like, you know, I want to know why you use the word nigga. And I looked at her and I paused for a second, and I said,
and she was black herself?
She was black. And I said, maybe it's because I am that nigga. Oh my God. I don't give a fuck, man. Like, I don't think you understand. I don't give a fuck. Live on the radio, I was like, I am that nigga. She looked at me, she was like, huh? I was just saying, you don't call your girlfriends bitches? Like when y'all be out, huh? I was like, have you ever called one of your girls? Bitch, stop playing. She was like, yeah, I have. It's like that. That's what we doing here. That's what we doing. I don't care, man, because can't nobody tell me, like, they know how I mean it. And my whole theory about it is, I'm Latino, I can't say nigga. Blacks and Latinos is the same shit. If you go back in history, if you look at hip hop music, it was invented by blacks and Latinos. The nigga next door to you is Julio. Where's the difference? Like, I don't really understand it. Like, I've never understood it. So when you see Big Pun, his biggest record was Buddy, more than we don't know that. We don't partake in the difference. We're the same. We never have. Like, we don't know the difference. I'm just as black as any black nigga. And there's some black niggas blacker than fucking Akon that talk Spanish all day. And you can't tell him he ain't Spanish. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I've always felt. I felt like if everybody else had got that, especially in the out west, in the West Coast, because, you know, that's really Latino and black. They play that bullshit, right? And if everybody else got it, then we would be unified and be super duper 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 powerful. You know, that's how I've always felt. I'm not talking about making a fucking terrorism crew or some shit, but I'm talking about, you know, we got the same bad health, the hospitals. We got the same they don't want to give us loans for college. They don't, you know, we're just the same shit.
Your thoughts?
Man, I'll speak first, man. I get pissed off when you hear these Latinos get up here and try to define, you know, what it is that we are, what terms we as a people should accept. I mean, man, just look at this dude, this big, fat, wetback beaner spick. You know what I'm saying? Like, the first question I would ask was like, why don't you, I mean, would you be comfortable? Like, if Fat Joe was to come into a radio interview with me, and, you know, he was to toss up the N-word up in the air, I would be like, oh, yo, Fat Joe, would you be cool? You know what I'm saying? If I start cracking Mexican jokes, would you be cool if I called you a beaner spick? You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I can't place all the blame on him, because you got black people that will accept that. You got black people that accept Mexicans. I mean, they all about this black and brown pride. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, nah, Mexicans are not my people. He's talking about, he lied. He said that it's the older generation that has a problem with it. But guess what? I'm younger than Fat Joe. And I have a problem with it. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been brought up a lot around that because I don't associate with Hispanics. I don't associate with Latinos like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of them Rainbow Coalition black people, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't swirl. You know, I don't hang around with these corny white dudes who I call wiggers. I don't hang around these dudes who you know, want to be black and, you know, dress black and talk with the, you know, black accent and all of that stuff, man. I'm not friends with those type of people. So, you know, those people definitely wouldn't feel comfortable saying nothing like that around me because I don't associate with them. But yeah, at the end of the day, man, we gotta, and it's so funny, bro. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself, but the next time you hear a Latino, and this message goes out for anybody out here, Like if you're uncomfortable and you take offense, like if they, trying to use the N word around you, like ask them, like, do y'all, ask them, or call them a spick, call them a wetback. So, and I bet you that 99% of the Hispanic and Latino community gonna find offense of that word. So I'll pass the microphone to my brother Bakari.
You're absolutely correct. Call him a spick, he gonna be highly offended, right? So this is what I did while he was on there talking. I looked up the racial and ethnic group of Puerto Rico, right? In 1802, 42% white, 58% non-white, right? In 2010, 76% of Puerto Ricans consider themselves white. 76% consider themselves non-white. They didn't even put on here how many would say they are, how many say they're black, because they don't want to. A lot of them, not all. You find some Afro Puerto Ricans, like the guy on YouTube, Andrew Ramirez Jordan, they're proud to be black, they're proud to be Afro Latino. But he even talks about how blacks in the Latino world is discriminated against. Oh my God. Do y'all remember the movie White Men Can't Jump?
Yes.
What was the Puerto Rican lady name on there?
Shoot.
Rosie Perez. Rosie Perez.
Yeah.
But she considers herself black. Now watch this. Remember, she used to be on The View. Now
Right.
you go back and watch The View, and she would tell you she's black and she's of African descent, right?
Mm-hmm.
She started talking about the racism in Latino world, and she's Puerto Rican, especially in Puerto Rico, right? How they are racist against black people in Puerto Rico and how black people are treated. Within 2 months, she was no longer on the show because they don't want us to know that. They want us to keep screaming black and brown together. These people don't call themselves brown. Fat Joe is on there when he's blacks and Latino the same. Well, Latino is not a race. Latino is not a race. Go to any of those Latino countries. Go to Colombia and look up a city called Choco. Look how they left black people, they are former slaves, they gave them, just left them there basically to die. People pulled themselves together, it's still poor, and they traded amongst themselves, and that's how they survived and lived so long. Now they found out that there's some, I forget what it is, what natural resources on that land, so they're just finding somewhere else to make them go to try to push them off that land. Everywhere we go throughout the world, we are humiliated. We have been oppressed, suppressed, depressed, any kind of pressure you can think of, we have been under. And now we got these people want to tell us accepting the N-word would take some of the pressure off because you're taking the power away. But did you notice that was a white Jew who's doing the interview, and he's interviewing what they would call in the Latino world a mestizo. That's what he was. That's what he would be called in the Latino world, because he looked mixed.
Wow.
He would be called a mestizo. But that's who's doing the interview. Like Erica said, a white guy and a Puerto Rican trying to explain how it's okay to use the N-word. But I agree with brother POW. It's not his fault if we sit back and we accept it. He's around people that accept it. Well, it's okay. So if they let him do it, then he go to the white boy and he do it. Just like when Tommy Sotomayor and Tariq Nasheed got to arguing on his show when Tariq Nasheed went up there talking about he was going to fight Tommy Sotomayor in that dude's studio. Just go back and listen to see how many times Tariq Nasheed said nigga. Right there.
Yep.
And it was not a term of endearment when he was using it. He wanted to fight the nigga. Pardon my French, please. I hate that word. But he wanted to fight the N-word. He wanted to fight him. And he was not saying it as no term of endearment. So we have to get off of this kick of trying to hold on to something that belittle us. How can we ever build ourselves up? How can we ever respect ourselves? How can we ever love one another? How can we ever provide and protect for one another if we are going to constantly use words like this toward one another? That's nothing good coming from that. And this is my thing. I understand if people been using it forever, I can't say don't call me that, and they're gonna stop saying because I say don't call me that. So, but I just constantly tell them, don't call me that, call me by my name. Or I just ignore them. I say, or some get upset. I say, next time you call me that, I got a nickname for you. So they call me the N-word, I call them dumbass. Now they're upset. Excuse me. I say, but that's how I feel when you call me the N-word. You know my name, so don't call me that. Every time you call me the N-word, I'm gonna call you dumbass. So now we're equal. Then they figure out, you know what? I remember his name because I don't want to be called dumbass. That's how I see it. But, you know, this is going to be a hot topic. It is a hot topic. We have to really get to our youth more than anything so they can have some respect, start teaching them the history so they can know not to use that word. I yield the mic.
Before you yield, my brother, could you tell the people the story that what happened to you when the white guy called you the N-word?
Oh, yes, I can do that. I was at this corner store, and a white dude called me the N-word. It caused the fight.
How did he call you? Like, was it a kind of, it was a form of an endearment in a way?
No, but it was black people that took up for him, though.
No. I'm just saying, how did he say it? Like, he called you like it was how did he say it? What did he say exactly?
I just remember nigga, and that was enough for me. Nothing else. That was never gonna be a term of endearment. He may have said, "What up, my nigga?" I don't know, but when he said that, that was it. But it was black people that stood out there and told the police that I started the fight because the white guy, he didn't mean it like that. He said he didn't mean it like that. You can't tell me how somebody means something to me because you're okay with him calling you that. I'm not okay with him because that don't make me being okay with him calling me that. But it was black people that made sure they called the police and went to the police and had me go to jail. But fortunately, it was somebody out there who said, it was a white lady actually, who told the cops, well, he didn't start the fight. He come to this store. He never caused no problem. That guy called him, used a racial slur, and that what caused the fight. And I didn't have to pay no bail money to get out. They let me out. Even in that, they took that one white woman word over about 15 black people. But those 15 black people was literally out there taking up for the white dude. He didn't mean it like that. You shouldn't have done that. He didn't mean it like that. That ain't how he meant it. But that's what happened. It's been a couple of situations here, but you know, I'll give the mic.
Wow. And these are the black people that said it was okay, and they give these people a pass. So to address the video, Fat Joe is not my people. And I wish black people need to stop including these people of our struggles. Now, you know, you could have heard the way the man talked. He was like, yeah, you know, long time ago, like our struggle is nothing. And then he said the word black ends, like black niggas. You know, I ain't gonna say the whole word, but you know, black. I said, damn, dude, like how disrespectful can you be? And even when Malcolm X was debating with some coons, they said, oh well, you know, blacks and Latinos, and you know, Malcolm had to shut them down. He said, no, wait a minute, why are you including Puerto Ricans? Because they said they used the word Puerto Ricans. He said the Puerto Ricans don't have nothing to do with our issue. He said they're not the one being lynched. We are. You know what I'm saying? So you know, he's coming from an organization that didn't allow Latinos or nothing in that organization. That wasn't about that. That was a you know, when you're dealing with the you know, black organization, it was stayed black. It stayed black. You know what I'm saying? So when you got these coons, oh, the blacks and Puerto Ricans, it was like, whoa, you're not speaking for no Latinos speak for Latinos. Latinos speak for Latinos. We need to speak for us. So Fat Joe, he becomes very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. And, and like I said, like my brother said, my two brothers on the panel, it's not his fault. Because people like Jay-Z and the rest, they gave him a pass. But you can't call him, and it becomes, he said, well, it's hip hop. And that's another thing. Hip hop was always been a political genre. It has nothing to do with entertainment. It was a movement. It was a movement. When you had Tupac, when Tupac was living, rest in peace to Pac, he was talking about we need to form our own government. Hip hop was supposed to be a movement. Other people like Fat Joe and 6ix9ine and China Mac and all these other people, Eminem, is entertainment to them. They want to be entertained. You know what I'm saying? But with us, it's a movement. It was we storytellers. So it was definitely something. It was the hip hop was always been sacred to us. It's been a sacred thing. But of course, when you have a lot of interference, it becomes dirty. It becomes real dirty. So Fat Joe, I don't buy his music. He's not. He can't. He will never be one of us. And I wish black people need to stop including people like him in our struggle. We are not the same. And I would tell Fat Joe, we're not the same. We're not. So he needs to stop that nonsense. And it's so weird to me that it's okay for Latinos. And yes, when you go to these Latin countries like Colombia and Cuba, even Cuba, they got racism in Cuba between blacks and whites. Okay? Latino is not a race. Being Puerto Rican is not I don't even know what a Puerto Rican is, because Puerto Rico means rich port. I never heard a person say, well, I'm rich Portian. What does that mean? You can't be Puerto Rican. You got to come from somewhere. Okay? Puerto Rican is just an island, but that, what people that mixed up with a bunch of mixed people. So I don't understand what that means. But again, we got to learn history. We got to learn history, because to them, they use that word. I've always heard Latinos call each other, oh, the N word. And they never called it, like my brother POW said, I never heard call each other, wetbacks and spicks. And I never heard them calling each other that, because they know there's a code to this. See, I give it up to other races of people. See, they all follow a code. There's a code that they follow. Look, we just don't make sure we know that's okay. That word they got a word for us. We won't use it. But we don't follow no code. Where's our code? Where's our code? So this is the reason why we have to enforce it. Hey, if you call me the N-word, I'm gonna punch you in your face. Now that's like my brother said. There's some people that have been using it so much that they will have a hard time stopping it because it became part of their vocabulary. I understand that. I get that. But even still, you got to let them know that, hey, stop using that. Don't use it. If you're going to use it, don't use it on me. Because eventually, I'm going to say something that you're not going to like. So it's very disrespectful, and they don't. Fat Joe, he don't give a damn about us like that, to the point he said, yo, he knows about the history. He knows about the water hoses and the like how he said the Rosa Parks days. And you're gonna keep using the word? what our people went through, you don't have no respect for us like that, but you could use our genre and totally disrespect us. When he was going at it with 50 Cent, he stayed throwing that word around at 50 Cent. He could have called him anything else. He could call him an asshole or you son of a bitch or whatever, but he just kept calling him the N-word. So I have no respect for Fat Joe, and I would tell you this: Fat Joe is not my people's. So I want to clarify that. Now I'm gonna show you another video.
Can I say something right quick before you go to the next?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Like when you said how we say the word and you give it to other races. I also would say this, right? Like when I mentioned Angel Ramirez Jordan, I have a friend. She's Guatemalan. She's black. She'll tell you she's Afro Guatemalan. You know, and I have a buddy that's Panamanian. And each one of them I just named, you'll think they grew up on the block with you. You wouldn't think they were no Latino, but they would tell you they're Latino. But they also say they're Afro Latino. But you know something? I never hear none of the Afro Latinos do. I never hear them use the N-word toward one another. I never hear them use the N-word towards us, the Afro Latinos.
I never heard that. That's true. I never that happened to me. Yeah, you're right.
Because we do have family over in the Latin world.
That's true. You're right.
But Fat Joe, like I said, he would be considered a mestizo, according to my homeboy who has lived in Colombia and Costa Rica and Panama. He would be considered mestizo.
And I want to add something else too. Fat Joe, if you really speak to Fat Joe, he would tell you that his descendants come from Spain, not Africa. He would tell you that. I know. I was speaking to this one lady. She was Puerto Rican, and she said that my descendants come from Spain, even though she claimed that. She said, "Well, I don't know what I am because we so mixed up with different things." But she'd tell me straight up, and she looked just like Fat Joe, white looking, and she said that my descendants come from Spain. She didn't say her descendants come from Africa, but I already knew that. I said, well, I could tell. You know what I'm saying? I could tell that you're European. Fat Joe is European. Even though he might got a little Indian in him, a little African in him, or whatever the case is, but the majority of his DNA is European at the end of the day. And those people are not my people. Those people, like Brother Bakar, you do got a lot of African people in Colombia. All you gotta do is YouTube it. You'll see them. You'll be like, oh shit, that's our people. You got a lot of black folks in Cuba. You got a lot of black people in Costa Rica. I met a brother who came from Costa Rica when I was in college. I said, wow. And to me, when you're young, you think that you don't know these things until you go to college, where there's a lot of people from all over the world, and you be like, wow. So your mind start to open, be like, wow, I didn't know there were black people in these Latin countries, because all your life, this is what they show you in the media. Every time they show you somebody that come from a Latin country, they look white. They're white people. They don't show you, hey, there are African people as well that speak Spanish. Like you got the Panamanians. A lot of black people come from Panama. A lot of black people. You know what I'm saying? And those black people from Panama let you know, hey, I'm African. I'm African. You got some black people, believe it or not, in Dominican Republic. They say they from Africa. So we do got some ancestors and our people in these Latin countries, and we cannot forget about them, because they are our people. And I'm talking about black folks. I'm not talking about people like Fat Joe and 6ix9ine. So anything y'all want to add?
Well, I was gonna say, man, to me it was just disrespectful how he was trying to speak against Rosa Parks and how they always talk about our struggle, but let's not forget, man. A lot of the Mexicans, they were lynched too, and on top of that, man, A lot of them went through sharecropping. Like white Americans used to have them up in the doggone tomato fields, picking tomato and cabbage and all type of stuff, man. Just like our ancestors pick cotton. Like seriously, man. Even today, man, they get brought over here, and they basically sharecroppers. I mean, they work for low wages. I mean, they do the most hardest jobs. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, man, these Hispanics, man, they need to like really check themselves and just see the position. I mean, they only brought over here. We all know the white man, what I'm saying? He's the master manipulator. He knows how to, he even knows how to use, our own people against each other. But, he gives them what they call the illusion of inclusion to be able to come over to America and be placed on a higher pedestal than the black man. But at the same time, man, the white man don't the American white man don't respect the Latino. Where you think all these racist terms come from, like beaner, spick, you know what I'm saying? Wetback. I mean, those are terms that white people made up. Those are terms white people made up, man. So, to that taco twirler, that's what I call him, Fat Joe, man, that dude need to check yourself. Like Ice Cube said, check yourself or you wreck yourself. And I'll pass the mic.
Facts. All right, so we're gonna listen to with China Mac, an Asian China Mac, what he says about the N word.
Music and when we talk and so forth, is you actually use the N word.
I use it here. I try not to use it, but I do use it.
Okay. And why is that?
That word was always used around me, right? And when I used the word, it was never like in a way that was derogatory or meant any malice or any disrespect to any group of people. And it was accepted. Like I did prison time all over the place, right? Maximum state prison, all over. Been around killers, been around, and I always use the word, right? Some people sometimes, like an older person, would tell me like, "Yo, they don't feel comfortable with me using that word," and
how would you react when they tell you that?
I would say, "You're right." You know what I mean? And then I would respect it. But when I'm around my people or whatever, like around people that didn't feel no type of way about it, it was all right. But now, once I started making music, I realized that people are gonna listen to my music. People are gonna see my material that are not my friends, or that they're not in front of me to say, "Hey, China Mac, I feel disrespected by you saying that." You understand what I'm saying? And then I also looked at it in the light, like if people were saying chink this, I would feel disrespected. You understand what I'm saying? So regardless of if you have a bunch of Chinese friends and a bunch of Asian friends, regardless of that, I still feel disrespected because it's me. I'm not okay with you saying that. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I took that into consideration, and I decided not to use that word in my music, in my videos. I try my best not to use the word. Still, it slips up. Still, I say it once in a while here and there, but I try my best not to do it because I want to respect the people. I want to respect other people. That word is like, a lot of people say, "Oh, I grew up saying that word. I grew up," but and that's understandable, right? And like, just like me, I grew up saying the word, and I don't mean no malice towards it. But at the same time, you have people that they have grandparents that were affected by that word, right? That word is a deep-rooted word, right? And yes, our culture, the way we grow up, it's not like that. However, we still have to respect other people, especially when we're putting ourselves out there in the world, right? Like, there's people that feel disrespected by that. And I'm all about the respect. I don't, so I'm trying my best not to use that word anymore, not to put it in my work, not to put it out there like that.
Yeah, I never use it.
Yeah.
Period. If I have to use it, I will say the N word. But if a song comes on, I'll just skip the word altogether.
But it's a little different between me and you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because for the simple fact, like, we grew up a little differently. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it safe to say that, right?
Absolutely.
We grew up a little differently. I was like submerged in how I walk, how I talk, my hands. It's my whole mannerisms, right? It's from that world. Right? So that word came with it. You know what I mean? So it's a little different by you saying it and me saying it. But by me saying it still, we at the same token, we have to be respectful.
And neither one of us is black.
Yeah,
the other day.
That's a fact.
Is there an equivalent of that the Chinese use amongst each other?
No.
No.
I don't think anybody really. I don't know if anybody else, any other like culture used a derogatory word and made it like a term of endearment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, because there's a Chinese term for whites.
Yeah.
Like a white ghost.
White. Yeah.
Bakwai or something.
Yeah. That's what it means. White ghost.
White ghost. Right. And I guess there was actually a white gangster that was part of the Chinese mafia.
Yeah.
Do you know about this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't his name like Bakwai or something?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know which one you're talking about, but I know one that was in the Ghost Shadows. His name was Bakwai. Yeah. So he was pretty big too.
So he was actually a ghost shadow, which was your.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the only one, or if that's the one you're
right.
talking about.
I read up about him after our interview. I mean, apparently he spoke like perfect Chinese and everything else like that. Yeah. Were there white people in the Chinese gangs like that? Like,
it was fun. It was like you had a white person, you had like a Mexican, a black person, but they were submerged in that culture. Like, they spoke Chinese, they had mannerisms, like, they were fully submerged into the Chinese culture.
Yeah.
Right. So they were accepted, but they would never, some of them would rise up the ranks. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a few, but it was, but there were.
So, give me your thoughts.
Okay, yeah, let me go first. All right, yeah, me and my bro Guy was having a discussion about this earlier, and you know what? I actually agree with what my brother Guy was saying after watching this video. Man, I got a lot more respect for China Mac and the way that he handled, this situation, just his outlook on this, than I do for that Fat Joe. At least China Mac is a little bit more sensitive regarding this issue. I mean, he's putting it out there. It's a time and place. It's a time and place to use that word. Like, when you're in the jungle, and when I'm not talking about the jungle outside. I mean, the concrete jungle. When you lock down in the concrete jungle around nothing but savages, that's the way that they, talk amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, China Mac said it himself, that he could understand in the wrong place, in the wrong environment, man, how that word could be looked at as disrespectful, because he said he feels disrespected himself. If somebody was to call him a chink, if somebody was to call him a chink, he feels disrespected. So you know what? At the end of the day, man, I gotta, show respect towards that. Like, if I was around China Mac, I would prefer that he wouldn't use the N word. You know what I'm saying? As long as he showed me respect, I would show him. You know what I'm saying? It takes respect, to get respect. That's the way I look at it at the end of the day, man. So we can't really blame him to an extent. And the reason that I say that is because our own people, man, we have popularized the word, you know what I'm saying, in such of a fashion to where it's like, when you got people that are part of this environment, like, even though I'm against the word cold-heartedly, I'm against the word. I'm not trying to make up no excuses at all. I got to be 100% solid on what I stand on and my foundation. But, amongst other people like that, like we were talking earlier, unfortunately, a lot of our people, and this includes, savages in the concrete jungle, aka prison. A lot of those people, man, they have a totally different outlook on life. To them, it's not necessarily about brotherhood. I mean, it's a dog eat dog mentality. So when you among savages, in a concrete jungle, sometimes you got to blend in like a chameleon, and what I'm saying, camouflage yourself, because growing up, you got certain places like in the middle of the hood to where they're gonna look at you. They'll look at you weird if you don't talk to the people, or talk to the people on the level that they're on. Like sometimes, man, you got to blend in with your environment. Like if you know that, all right, this hood over here is dangerous and it's notorious for robbery, grand theft auto, homicide, drug dealing and stuff like that, and you see amongst the people that this is the word that they're using. I mean, of course, I come from those type of environments, and I was brought up around a lot of them type of people. So it's not necessarily to say that that word is never used as a term of endearment. Like I know, I was brought up around street dudes who, did prison time. And they have called me that. They'll just be like, "What's up, my nigga?" And they wouldn't come in to fight me or rob me. You know what I'm saying? Or nothing like that. But when you're dealing with the savage mentality, man, sometimes that's the way people just express themselves. You feel me? I'm still not trying to make no excuse for the word. Nobody out here, do not get me wrong. But sometimes they say you got to meet the people where the people are at. But I'm sure, man, that my other two brothers here gonna have some, some real interesting outlooks on this. So I'll pass the microphone. Let's get it going.
Well, like I put in the chat, I actually have more respect for China Mac when it comes than I would have for Jay-Z. China Mac, at least China Mac could understand and had some type of respect for that when he said an elder said something to him. At least he had the decency to say, you know what, it would offend elders, if it's ancestors, he won't do it. But then you have people that gives him a pass. So at least he know just to say it around them, not around everybody else. Because I would tell him, look, don't use it around me. Because you heard he mentioned how if somebody was to call him a chink.
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned that if somebody was to call a Chinese a chink. Excuse me. So it really, I'm gonna be all honesty. I give China Mac the utmost respect for that interview and the way he said it, and the way that he handled it.
Yep.
At least he had the decency to respect what an elder said to him. Jay-Z wanted to say, "Oh, but we took the power from the word." He don't have the decency to respect. See, China Mac respect other people, elders, other people, ancestors. Jay-Z didn't have the respect. He didn't have the decency to respect his own ancestors, his own elders. Because regardless of what somebody said, because it didn't make a difference how Oprah Winfrey felt. And I know how some people, black men right now, feel about Oprah. But Oprah, I think she in her 60s. It doesn't make a difference it didn't make a difference how she felt about their word. Jay-Z basically let her know, I'm going to continue to say it. And he's going to continue to say it because that's how he make his money, which lets you know he don't care about you because he used that word in his money. So he don't care about us. He care about making his money.
Mm-hmm.
But the sad thing is we use these people who say stuff like that as spokespersons for us. They're not a spokesperson for black people. We have to get rid of the entertainers and the athletes, musicians, athletes, actors. We have to get rid of those people as spokespersons, as spokespeople for us. Then eventually, maybe some things can change. But as long as we allow people like that who use that word just because he got some money, just because he have money, he become a spokesperson as if what he's saying is great because he got money. No. And I have no respect for the way he did that interview. None whatsoever. None at all. I have more respect for China Mac than that interview than I would have for Jay-Z. I yield, man.
I agree. I have a lot more respect for China Mac. That was the way he answered the questions was very noble, you know, and I definitely respect it. He does have respect. We have more respect for our answers than Jay-Z, and I'm very disappointed of Jay-Z. Very disappointed. And even when Oprah was like, "Yo, um, our ancestors had gotten killed, and that was the last word that they heard," you would think that, there was no compassion from Jay-Z. And then you hear from Fat Joe, he's saying the same thing, like, "Oh, like he said, he didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a fuck. I am that nigga." That he didn't care. He's gonna continue using that word because he makes his money that way. But Jay-Z, it's just funny, and people like him, they just don't care. They don't care about their ancestors. They don't care about their ancestors. They don't. Um, and then you got people in the conscious crew like Young Pharaoh and Sonetta, all these guys that use the N-word. These guys use the N-word too. I mean, they use the N-word like water, and you'd be like, "Yo, you gotta calm down with that, man." Like you on social media, and then this is the reason why they had that Sonetta had that hillbilly on his show, and what did he show? What he told Shaka Amos? "Oh, if you come over here, you're gonna get lynched." And he said this right in front of black folks, and they thought it was funny. They thought it was funny. And then you want to know why nobody don't want to respect us? No, but that's going to change. That's going to change. And I'm going to say this: I'm willing to put my life on the line for that. And I tell people, are you willing to put your life up? You're willing to put your life up? Because I'm willing to put my life up, because that's going to change with me. Because I'm not having that. I'm not having that. I'm not. It's just disrespectful. It's just so disrespectful. And like I said, if I have to say it, I'm ready to fight. That's it. If I say it, I'm willing to fight. It ain't gonna be no talk. No more talking. I'm not going back and forth with nobody. We fighting. So I'm just saying it's a very disrespectful word. And I'm very disgusted with Jay-Z. That's why I'm not a Jay-Z fan. I don't buy his albums. I think he sucked. You know what I'm saying? So to me, he's not the best rapper alive, like some people want to make him to be. You know what I'm saying? So I don't buy Fat Joe's album, but I do, have a little more respect for China Mac, because he knows. And he said if I heard my people use the word chink, I'm not gonna like it. He said this. He said if he heard his own people say the derogatory word chink, he ain't gonna like it. So if we heard, we should feel the same way. We should feel the same way when we hear the N-word. I'm going to play another video.
Can I say something right quick?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Lakeisha M., I thank you for, I love you, but you say a black person can go anywhere in the world and say the N-word and no one would care. I'm going to tell you something. If you deal with black people, other black people from around the world, black people from the United States is absolutely laughed at for being called that. Actually, I can introduce you to some people, and my guy Irritated Genie had to straighten him out when he was in South Africa. Because when they see black people from the United States, they call us the nigga. And Irritated Genie, the founder of Straight Black Pride Movement, he had to tell the guy, "Don't call me that because I'm not that." Where did you get that from? He said, "From music and TV." So when he got in the car, he heard what he was listening to. But eventually the guy came to a Straight Black Pride meeting in South Africa and joined and said he would stop using the word. So we are actually, in essence, we are laughed at by other people around the world, but not just by black people around the world. When I lived in Korea, black people from the United States, the things that we say and how we talk to one another and treat one another, we are laughed at. We can't, and I know it may have bothered some, I hope it didn't, but yes, China Mac say he used the word around his friends who allow him to use it. But at least he had the decency to respect an elder when a black elder told him, yo, we ain't cool with that word. So he stopped using it. And no, I would not buy a China Mac album. I don't know if that question was for me, but no, I would not buy a China Mac album. Because I don't buy nobody a rap album that's not black, because I'm tired of people exploiting our culture, getting rich. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
I agree. I wouldn't buy China Mac album. I think I've seen some of his videos, but it don't really. I just think that he's just trying to capitalize off of our genre. So I don't think I think he suck anyway, to my opinion. But I agree. I agree with you, Brother Bakari. I was thinking about what the interview that Richard Pryor had, and I don't know if y'all seen it when he talked about Richard Pryor always had a filthy mouth. He used to constantly use the N-word in all his stand-ups, and until one day he went to Africa. He went to Africa, and you see all these all his people and they showed him love, and he said, wow. He said, these are not niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so when he went back to the States, they noticed that he made an oath to himself that he would not use the word again to his people. And he got criticized for that. And I thought that was shocking. America, United States of America, United States of America, criticized him for that because he would not use the N-word. And I couldn't believe that. I said, damn. And you mean to tell me they only bought tickets because they just want to hear him use the N-word just to degrade us? So I thought that was a very interesting story. Very interesting story. He went to Africa and learned his history. Came back, he said, yo, I made an oath to myself that I would never use that word again. That hit the heart right there, man. So I'm gonna play another video. And this is interesting. And I think this guy's name is Abdul Muhammad. I think that's his name. But I'm gonna play his video, and he's gonna tell you just pretty much what I said about the history of the N-word. And he'll say for himself that it means it might spell differently, but it means the same. Just like when brother CJ, POW, he had a radio station called African Supremacy. And he spelled African with the K, right? He put the K in it. Not the C. He replaced the C with the K. Now, let me ask y'all a question. Is the word different? Does the word Africa or African means differently? Does it has a different meaning because he replaced the C with a K? Is that a yes or a no?
No, it still mean the same, bro.
It just mean the same. Same word, same meaning. But it's different. Different word, different. The word changed because he replaced the C with a K, but it's the same meaning. So I'm going to show you this video. Let me show you this video here. Okay, I think this is it. I'm gonna show you a little bit of this one, and I'm gonna let you and get y'all take on that. But he pretty much said the same thing I already said, and I just came upon this video. I was like, wow, he said the same thing I said. Here we go.
People use the word nigga. All of us in this room will be richer than Bill Gates, right? All of us in the room would be richer than who? Bill Gates. So now, I'm going to put both spellings on the board. Y'all got that? Because some people would tell you, well, see, yeah, this is what white people called us, right? But see, what we use, no, you see what I'm saying? A nigga, see, Tupac say, it's never ignorant getting goals accomplished. You see what I'm saying? That's what we would say, right? And Tupac did say that, but we want to know, what does the word mean? Because, see, everything is given a title based on its what? Based on its function. Are y'all with me? So you sit in a chair because the function of a chair, or we call it a chair because of what it does, right? We call a car because of what it does, right? We call the pen a pen because of what it does. Now you can take the thing that has a name and you can use it for a different purpose, right? I mean, you can use a chair as a weapon and bust somebody in the head with it, right? You've seen enough WWF to know that, right? But is that the purpose and the function and the reason that you call it a chair? That's not the purpose or the function or the reason that you refer to it as a chair just because you can bust somebody in the head with it. So the question is, just because you use it in a different way, does that mean that it has a different meaning? That it has a different function? Well, we know that this word nigga or nigga comes from the word Negro, right? When you were in public school, right, they told you that the word Negro means what? They said it means what?
Black.
They told you that it means black. But guess what? That's just half the truth. And you know, a half truth is a what?
A lie.
A half truth is a lie. That's what you've been telling your parents all your life. A bunch of half truths, right? They smack you upside the head and say, stop lying, right? So now, you may have a little boyfriend, Ray, Tyrone, Clarence, somebody, and your mama said, girl, I don't want you going back over Clarence's house no more. He ain't no good. So then you over there the next day. You come home, your mama asks you, girl, where you been? You better not have been at Clarence's house. You're like, no, mama, no, I was at Kiki's house. But you never tell your mother that Kiki is Clarence's sister, right? So that's a half truth, right? And a half truth is a what? A half truth is a lie. All praise is due to Allah. So what we've been given from the enemy is a lot of half truths. And they leave out the part that's critical so that they can deceive us with the half truth. Are y'all listening? So the white man says, well, Negro comes from the Spanish word negro, which means black in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the dictionary and you see, oh yeah, negro, yeah, it means black in Spanish. We Negroes. But that's a half truth. The word negro in Spanish, right, it comes from the Spanish. Y'all got that?
Mm-hmm.
And it does mean black, but it only refers to something that is dead. So it means black, but it's only used to refer to inanimate objects. Black car, black shoes, black shirt, black pants. Y'all understand what I'm saying? It is not used to refer to things that are black and alive. Y'all with me? Mm-hmm. It's only used to refer to things that are black but have no life. Y'all got me? So now the word that is used to refer to a black person in Spanish is moreno, not negro. So you have to ask the question, why is it that when we were brought in slavery, why did the enemy use the word Negro to describe black people? Are y'all with me? We know that Spanish comes from what language? Latin, right? And Latin comes from what? Greek. Are y'all with me? So you find this same word in the Latin is Nekro, and in Latin it means dead. You find it in Greek is Necro, which also means what? Dead. Now there's a law in English. Are y'all listening? There's a law in English called Grimm's Law of Consonants. I hope I spelled that right. I hope I did. And in Grimm's Law, it says the G, the K, and the C are all interchangeable without changing the meaning of the word. Did y'all hear that? Mm-hmm. According to Grimm's Law of Consonants, the G, the K, and the C are all interchangeable, and it doesn't change the meaning of the word. That's why you can spell America with a C, or you can spell America with 3 Ks, and it's still America. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Facts.
So now,
go ahead, brother.
Negro or negro means dead in Spanish. It means dead in Latin. It means dead in Greek. The question is, why did the enemy use this word to refer to black people? Now, if you get a dictionary, the dictionary will tell you that the word Negro came into existence in English in the year 1555, which is the same year that the first boatload of black people were brought to America by a slave trader by the name of Sir John Hawkins, all praise is due to Allah, on a ship named Jesus. Well, why did he name the ship Jesus? Because black people have always loved Jesus. I know you say, well, y'all Muslims, y'all don't believe in Jesus. Yes, we do. We're in a building called Mosque Mariam, and Mary is the mother of Jesus, so that everyone will know that as Muslims, we believe in Jesus. But why did the white man name the slave ship after Jesus? So you wouldn't have no problem getting on the ship. You understand what I'm saying? Why does the white man get a black man by the name of Michael Jordan and put his name on a tennis shoe? A shoe that costs him $5 to make, and then he turns around and sells it to you for $120, right? Because he knows you like him. And since you like him, you'll spend all that you have to get the shoe that's made by him or that has his name on it. You understand what I'm saying? He uses his name to deceive you into buying a shoe that is worthless. Well, he did the same thing. He put the name on a ship to get us on the ship, to get us over here. You understand? When Jesus never endorsed what the white man was doing.
Just want to say, Brother Bakari, this goes in what you were saying, which I'm going to show in my next slide. Okay, Brother Bakari.
All right, I'm listening.
What he's saying goes what you was talking about, how they gave us that word. So this is what he's saying. This is what the brother's saying, the Muslim brother.
All right.
This brother. Now I'm just going to just play a little bit more, and then we're going to go into it. Just give me 1 second.
Doing? Are y'all with me? Can we move on? Now, so our question is, are black people dead? Y'all gonna say yes because y'all here in the mosque. You ask the average brother on the street, black people dead? Man, he said Pookie died last week, drive by. But everybody else, we straight. See what I'm saying? We straight, right? So now, what we have to understand is that there's more than one meaning of the word dead. Y'all with me? If you don't pay your phone bill, you pick up the phone and you hear that little clicking sound, but no dial tone, right? You hear click, click, click. It's like the dial tone is about to come, but it never.
So he gets into other things. So I just want to just play that part, and this is something that I've been saying about it's the same as you could change the word with the same meaning. So I'm just going to let CJ. CJ say his response, and then Brother Bakari.
Yeah, that was a very powerful, informative teaching lesson, and I definitely need to get the link to that video so I can watch it a little bit more in depth and study it so I can pick up exactly what was being taught, because man, I just like the way he broke it down, the historical significance of that word being used. And we might look at a lot of street dudes and stuff like that as being ignorant for going around using the N-word. But a lot of street dudes, man, I mean, they sit up and talk this term of endearment. But when it comes to white people, outsiders, even Mexican people, like, man, you know how many white people ever got punched right up in their nose for using that word in the hood? Like, straight up, man. I mean, at least where I come from, man, like I got, I know brothers and stuff, man, from the streets, man, that's bold enough that they go up to the white man and call them nigger. You know what I'm saying? And shoot, these white dudes and these Mexicans and stuff like that, man, these brothers, man, they'll go up to them, call them nigger quick as hell. And and if they disrespect, man, they'll get their ass beat. You know what I'm saying? So our people, man, we could pretend and act as if it's a term of endearment, to those who claim to feel that way. But it's funny how, the majority of us, man, we only will tolerate it. I'm not going to say accept it. We'll only tolerate it amongst one another. But, a lot of us, man, we're not going to allow no outsider to go there. Like, if a brother says it, we'll just correct them, you know what I'm saying, and try to teach them, hey, bro, try to teach them, the history behind it. But when it comes to an outsider using it, man, that's a fighting word right off jump. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, man, we definitely need more teachings like that, man, to just wake our people up, man, to their true history. For real. And I'll let my brother Bakari go ahead and express his opinion.
Yeah, but you know what? We should have known that this word was given to us. Actually, we know we didn't create the English language. We didn't speak the English language. We know it was given to us. And historically, it was used as a derogatory term. Now, part of my theory, and this is for me, since our true culture here, right, is to try to be white. So white people call us nigga, we just became nigga, and they're part of my French, but that's what we start calling ourselves because that's what white people call you. Sometimes I say we did it because we couldn't do anything about it, so we accepted it. But when you study history, it was so many black people that fought against that word, fought against using that word. But my nigga, how many times you think the slave owner looked at a black person and said, yo, this my nigga? You think he was saying it with a term of endearment, or were you actually his nigga? I'm just saying. So it's just some things we have to want to get better in order to do better. And if you want to get better, what they say, you learn better, you do better. So if you want to get better, you're going to learn. And once you learn, you're going to attempt to do. And some people like to know. And that's for me, I say there's a difference in knowing and learning. I can know everything. But if I don't learn nothing from it, what's the purpose of me knowing? I like to know so I can learn. And this word and the history that he broke down, that was a good learning. That was a good learning session. That was a good time to learn. So some of these bad habits that we use toward one another, that we can truly, hopefully, we can get rid of. We know that we'll never 100% stop using that word. I wish we would, but we won't. But we have to do what we can to try to slow it down. And I really don't deal with people that call me that word. I know people that using it. They ain't seen me in a while. What's up, and I just, like I said, I tell them that's not my name. You know my name. Call me by my name. Oh, you one of them. That's right. You one of them so-called conscious woke folk. That's what they say to me. I don't even use the word conscious because everybody's conscious of something. I don't say I'm woke. You woke. You up walking around like me. I just don't want to be called that word. You conscious of using that word. I'm conscious of you not calling me that word. See how it works? So we're both conscious. But it's a hard fight. Like I said, I try to deal with the youth. You ain't going to get through to adults. You're going to have to be willing to deal. We're going to have to really be willing. And I know Queen Erica heard me. We were talking a couple of times. She heard me how I deal with some of the youth over here where I live. But that's what we're gonna have to do if we want to stop it. You're gonna have to start. You're gonna have to start with the younger ones. That's where you can't get grown people. If you want it to stop, you're gonna have to talk to the youth. And Sister Erica put a question in the chat. Say, what do the panel think about Dave Chappelle using the N-word? I don't like Dave Chappelle. I'm being honest. When he sat there and he said something, he cracked a homosexual joke, and he said people said, well, but you're not that, you can't use it. Well, you're not a nigga either, whatever, but I can use that. Yeah, well, obviously they feel you are, but you feel you are. But you also notice his wife is Asian, and he said he don't crack Asian jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he cracked those jokes, he said his wife told him that insults him. So once again, there go another black person that don't respect black people that will say that joke bothered me, but you respect other people. Even when I put in there with Chris Rock, he the one who got black people going around. I'm black, they niggas. So everybody was called that. So now once again, that's the mentality of us wanting to be other people. So I'm just gonna say I'm better than them by saying I'm black and they're a nigga. But then when everybody else look at you and we are looked at as the same. So then who is the N-word? Who is it? See, we have to stop letting it, once again, we have to stop allowing so-called celebrities to speak for us. We have to stop allowing them to speak for us. Let them know, look, you crack jokes. Your jokes might be funny. Stick with cracking jokes. Don't come out here and try to speak for us. Don't try to speak for us. Because the only thing y'all doing is messing up black people. That's my opinion. I yield the mic.
Yes, definitely. I think Dave Chappelle is a sellout to me. I mean, yeah, he's funny, but he's a sellout. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not. He's definitely don't really respect his ancestors. He's like remind me of another Jay-Z. So I really don't really hold him like one of the top comedians, so to speak. So I don't really respect that dude like that. But I thought the session was needed, and I had to play that because I want people to because I know look, we already know we not a lot of us don't know the history behind that word. A lot of people don't know, and just like when I said about the word African, sometimes people spell it with the C, and some people spell it with a K. It still means the same, has the same meaning, but it's spelled differently. And that's what the guy was showing. He said all these guys, it's the same word. It might be spelled differently, but it means the same word. It means dead. He said that's not even. He said because we would consider property. In other words, we would consider things. This is the reason why they use the word Negro, or the Nigger. Right. So he was saying. He said, how come they didn't call us Moreno? He said that means for black people. How come they didn't call us that? So I just wanted people to see he was saying that word was used on us for a reason. And he said, so it doesn't matter if you change it up to make it sound good or whatever like that. And like I said again, the reason why, and I said it before, the reason why we put the A at the end, because our African dialect, that kind of the reason why it comes out the way it's spelled, because we just like anybody else who have has an accent or a foreign dialect, saying that the English is going to sound differently. So, but that doesn't change the meaning of it. It don't. So we have to understand. We have to get down to the science of it. So now we're going to find out the core. We're going to get into the core of the word now. Okay. Now we're gonna get into the core, and this is Brother Bakari. He recommended me this video with Eric Irritated Genie. So let's screen share this real quick. Oh shit.
5 years ago, it was a common thing to speak of an Italian as a wop, a Jew as a she, a Pole as a kite. Today, the Negro, to a vast portion of the American public, is yet the N-word. The word is a stigma of inferiority, and its use is noted. Ever since, it was used to label the Negro as a member of an inferior race. The Russians and Poles and Lithuanians who came to America and were called names strenuously object to it, and as a result,
up being white, they have managed to grow far beyond the reaches of objectionable compliments, meaning insults. But the N-word lingers. And here comes Professor Haywood Brown of the New York World condoning the use of it. Now, if you just had to guess, who might you guess that Haywood Brown is? What you think, brother and sister? A small hat. The small hat is saying, no, we should call ourselves this word. I want people to hear this. Never before were there black people who believed that this was our identity, and that's what we should call ourselves. Here in 1922, we're seeing the origin of where someone said that this was our identity. Now let's see what he has to say. Professor Brown, who is the dean of the School of Spontaneity and Literature, sides with Carl Sandburg, apostle of the free verse movement in poetry, who thinks that it is not a bad word at all, and the Negro ought not to blush and mumble at its use. So let's just take a quick look at Carl Sandburg. Who might Carl Sandburg be? Another small hat. Now let's see what this hat has to say. Carl Sandburg expressed himself about something yesterday which we have been turning over in our mind. He thinks that one of the necessary steps in the progress of the American Negro is for him to accept the N-word and make it his own. To be sure, the word had its origins in contempt. So he's admitted we created the word to say black people have no value. This is 1922. But acceptance itself would serve to rob the N-word of all sting. From the standpoint of language, there is much to be said for the N-word. Colored man is hopelessly ornate, and Negro is tainted with ethnology. More is a live word. There is a ring to it like that of a true coin upon a pavement. So he said it just sounds so good when black folks call themselves the N-word.
This is the hat scene.
This is a hat now. This is not a black, these are the small hats who are saying this is what the black race should call themselves. He says, nor are all the connotations of the word shameful to the Negro race. Something of the terrific contributions of physical energy which the Negro race has made to America is inherent in the N-word. To our mind, and this is the small hat saying, to us as small hats, it brings up a vision of a man wrestling with great birds and conquering them. Never ignorant getting gold across. I'm sorry. No, he says, blood, sweat, and tears have all combined to make the N-word stark and simple. Among namby-pamby words, it looms like a great rock. It is basic, but not base. I want people to understand the relevance of this. The foundation of this concept of black degeneracy, and you can get, if you want to see what this is, you can get the book by Tony Martin. It's called African Fundamentalism. It's on page 100. This is a reprint of the article. This whole idea of black people accepting subculture and poor behavior and using it as our identity, as what defines us, is something we never came up with. Right. It's a foreign concept that was created by individuals outside of our race. And they use us strategically to push it forward. Now, during that time in the 20s, the black people of that time, Brother Gardner, the UNIA, who we just saw the brother wrote the article, were very clear about this. You will not create a new identity for us. What did they say in the Declaration of Rights of the Negro Peoples of the World? Declaration number 11. Right. We deprecate, meaning we hate the use of this term as applied to Negroes, and demand that the word Negro be written with a capital N. So on our way to being black and African people, one of the stops leaving that N-word behind was Negro, and we were on our way to something better. And those brothers and sisters during that time fought against this. But this is what happens. The small hats push this concept of black degeneracy through proxy. What that means is they don't want to come before us and say, do these things that any other time black people would do as a subculture. Nobody would put it on the forefront and say using this kind of language or acting in this manner represents who we are as a people. It's something we do on the side. You smoking your joint. You might do that behind the house somewhere, but you wouldn't do it in front of your grandparents. You wouldn't walk outside in public and say, this is what represents black people. It was self culture. They find talented black people and they weaponize those people and get those people to act as their agents, even if those black people don't know it. So black people who have less than favorable behavior, if they're talented, they take those people, they put money and resources behind those people, they put them in front of us, and all we see is the black people who don't even know many times they're acting as agents of the small hat, promoting poor behavior to our people. They've been trying this for over 100 years, and they finally got the major breakthrough. With a group called NWA.
Wow.
These were talented brothers who were not intentionally sitting down with no white folks saying, we're going to go out here and do harm to our people. They were in a culture where our people called us the N-word, grandparent, everybody used that term. They didn't even know that that was inappropriate and horrible to represent our people. And they weren't necessarily trying to get every black person to accept it. But as agents of an idea presented by small hats 100 years ago, the hat saw them and said, perfect, we got some talented young brothers. We think we can take the culture with them. So what I'm going to do, if you have children in here, I'm going to play something because I can show you better than I can tell you. It's some profanity in it, and it's kind of filthy, some of the things that he said. So if you want to take them out now, you can. But I want you to see for yourself. So there's no question about what I'm saying. The small hat, Jerry Heller, is the one who saw NWA calling themselves that term, which was the platform of the small hats, taking subculture, things that were embarrassing to us, and presenting it as the identity of our people. He came and put money and resources behind them and pushed that to our people as if it was us talking. So he's going to say some very horrible language, but I want you to hear this because I want you to see. Degeneracy starts with the small hat. They use our people by proxy to put it forth and make us think that we are the ones that come up with this.
Question, Sergio, and I answer whatever the fuck I feel like answering. So, I loved what was happening here. I loved the rap scene. And I thought that it was a viable scene because I didn't like Bronx rap. I call it the era of gold chains and big dicks, you know? Guys wearing gold chains walking around holding their crotches. So it wasn't musical, and it didn't have any kind of humor to it. And no sense of humor to their music. So when I heard what was happening on the West Coast, I liked that. While I liked, you know, the Dream Team and JJ Fad, I liked them a lot. When I heard Straight Outta Compton, I said to myself, wow. Because I said, this is what I want to be doing. I want to be in the NWA business. So our relationship was unheard of for a almost middle-aged white Jewish businessman to have a relationship like that with a early 20s ex-drug dealer from Compton. So our relationship developed into not only a teacher-pupil, but a father-son kind of relationship.
Man, it must be something great to know you were behind, you know, a very revolutionary change in the music industry, you know, as far as with Ruthless and Eazy-E.
Well, Sergio, I've been involved with the Panthers. I represented Ike and Tina Turner. But of all the things that I've done in my life, I believe that the most important contribution that I've ever made to the music business was NWA and Ruthless Records. Okay, Dre says, I guess Jerry Heller picked the wrong nigga. Yeah. You decide. Is Jerry Heller the white devil? Or is Jerry Heller the founding genius of gangster rap?
White devil. But he makes us act like we got to pick between both of them. Can he be the evil genius who was the founding father of gangster rap? Why is this important? I want people to understand. These individuals that we were talking about, the whole concept that filthy vulgarity in language, sexuality, all of these things that we accept as black culture today. There's no black person that decided that this kind of filth who used black people who didn't necessarily know what they were being used for, but they got paid good and many of them didn't care. These are the individuals who've always been behind what we call black degeneracy. And so they took a group called NWA and got them to convince us that we should kill one another and that it was cool for black men to murder one another. That black women had no value except for sexual toys. They got us to believe that everything filthy is what represented alcohol and drugs. All of those subparts things was who we are. Smoking, that's who we are. And they cracked the foundation of self-respect among youth culture. I was there, so I know. Once they did it, they opened the door for individuals like Luke Skywalker and the Two Live Crew, who were very localized before that. But now, because we didn't have any standards, now they could walk around with our women naked, and we would accept that nationally as part of who we were as black folks and how we did things. Even during that same time, we had an individual who's credited with starting hip-hop, Bambaataa, who we now find out was a degenerate that was going around raping young boys in this country and all around the world. So the founder of hip-hop is a pedophile who is linked through Planet Rock and his music career to the Small Hats. NWA is managed by the Small Hats. Who's financing Luke Skywalker and allowing that music to get on the radio and hear our people's ears and get these images? All Small Hats. And what they did is what my brother gave me the term is exactly what it's called. They weaponize entertainers. In other words, they have an idea that they want to exist. If they come and tell us to do something that's disrespectful, they know a brother might get up and bust them in their mouth. So instead, they find talented individuals in our community, finance them to promote bad messages that they may already be doing, but they make them louder and more accessible in our community. And as weaponized entertainers, they give the ideas to us that our enemies really want to push on our people. I'm going to give you a modern day.
All right, so I played almost pretty much the whole thing. Go ahead, CJ.
Okay, bruh. Yeah, you know, once again, man, I'll say that was another very informative lesson, and I suggest people that want to learn more about that, definitely go to the brother's channel and rewatch the video, watch it in its entirety. But man, it just shows that the agenda, the agenda that the Jewish community, like I've always said this, that the Jews are still pissed about what happened during their Holocaust. So now they're waging the Holocaust on black people, and they're doing this through people like Jerry Heller, because I'm sure, like, if you go back and a lot about the history and the origins of hip hop, man, prior to groups like NWA, we really didn't talk about just committing harm, acts of violence towards one another. We didn't refer to each other as the N-word. We called each other kings and queens, kings and queens. But like Irritated Genie just showed, the Small had Jerry Heller, he brought this group NWA, which consisted of drug dealers and stuff like that, hoodlums off the streets, and he used them to push this campaign to get black people to accept this N-word. And okay, then on top of that, man, see, this at the end of the day, it's like this, we're gonna have to, man, stand up and have some type of respect for ourselves and our people. We already see that other races don't. I mean, look at Fat Joe. Look at Fat Joe, man. He's trying to copy black, a black art form, which is hip hop. But wait a second, man. I thought his people were good in the kitchen, cooking tostados and enchiladas and stuff like that, man. Like, why don't Fat Joe, do what his people are good at? But you got all of these dudes coming out, man, trying to get into hip hop, trying to become a part of a black art form, and then they come into something that we started, and then they don't even show our people or our ancestors no respect. And that's what's a shame to me. Like, we get these people, these Jews that control mostly like all facets of the media, man. They're promoting homosexuality. Like, every other commercial is an interracial couple. You see, you got Jerry Heller, promoting black on black genocide via NWA. So, at the end of the day, man, we got to stand up, man, and do the research and study our history, man, and see the attack that's coming at us on all fronts, man. Like they're trying to make it perfectly acceptable, to commit genocide amongst our own people. So on that note, man, I'm gonna let my brother Bakari go and say his piece.
They have made it. They ain't trying. They have made it acceptable for us to commit genocide. But did you hear Jerry Heller? Oh, it was so funny the way they was talking about when they were rapping, right? NWA.
Mm-hmm.
It was so funny when they was gonna shoot and sell, do all that. But the rappers in New York, Public Enemy, them with the big dookie chains, they were not that interested. See, he didn't want to say talking that black stuff just wasn't interesting. X-Clan just wasn't that interested. Paris, rapper from San Francisco, who was a new Black Panther, he just wasn't that interesting. You understand what I'm saying? But people who you can get to degrade and belittle themselves, they are extremely interested. And this thing has been pushed down our throat, and those folks have made it cool. And once again, it is back to we have no respect for ourselves, and we allow other people to completely control us because we want to be accepted so bad. That's why you'll find people right now get a couple dollars, even if they just make it to middle class, upper middle. Oh, it ain't racism no more, it's classism. Well, what class is at the bottom? What class of people? The black people. Less than everybody. But we have accepted all of this, want to fit into something that was not built for us. And as long as we want to be like someone else, because that's our goal, as long as we want to be like people that absolutely abhor us, we won't get anywhere. We will stay in the same condition because we want to be like them so bad. We have started to hate ourselves. We have become the main oppressors to black people because we want to be like white people and everybody else. So it's on remote control now. It's just on cruise control. I mean, they don't really have to do much anymore because we continue to do it. That's my thought on it, and I yield the mic.
Definitely. It just reminds me. This kind of reminds me of when I saw the movie Straight Outta Compton, and the guy was playing Jerry Heller. When he was sitting around with Eazy and the rest of the guys, this was Ice Cube left the group, and Ice Cube made a comeback diss video called No Vaseline, and he was dissing Jerry Heller, call him all types of names. And Jerry Heller, he got furious. He was furious. He didn't give it. He didn't care. He didn't care what Ice Cube was calling, his boys that he left. He didn't care. He didn't care about the N-word that he was using. He only cared about the slurs that was towards him. And he was like, "Oh, we're gonna sue him." He said, "No, I'm gonna sue him." He said, "I'm gonna sue him. He's anti-Semitic and all this other stuff." I mean, he was furious. And I said, "Well, damn." I said, "We should be furious too when that N-word comes up." So it was okay for us to call us the N-word. He was cool, and he made a lot of money. He made a lot of money. And when Eazy-E went broke and he lost the house, the mansion, Eazy-E had to, get a regular house, a nice smaller house. He lost that big mansion. And what did Jerry Heller told him? He said, make sure he got his cut, got his money, took whatever he could take out of that. He told Eazy-E, it's business. It's business. He treated him just like the NIGGA, like he was. That's how Jerry treated him. And see, this is the reason why we got to be careful how we say, oh, it's our word and we can choose who we can give it to and all that. So we have power of the word. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Because once we start doing that, and then you want to know why people can say whatever they want to us, treat us how they want to treat, even when they get mad at us, oh boy, that N-word flows. That N-one flows. So, like I said, when it comes down to other races, they're gonna show you how much of an N-word you really are. They're gonna show you. They're gonna really show you. Trust me. So when you got a problem with Fat Joe and you thinking, oh, he's one of us, get him, piss him off and see what happens. Piss him off. He's gonna get his little Latino buddies, his Puerto Rican buddies. He's coming after you because he think that's what you are. You're trash. You're just an object. This is what he thinks of you. You know what I'm saying? You have a beef with Jay-Z? Huh? You're nothing to him. He don't care if you, oh, well, he don't care if you're a reflection. You're garbage. You know what I'm saying? Because it's when it comes down to people like Jay-Z, it's every man for himself. He don't look at us as a collective. Now you can see that Marcus Garvey, he hated that word. He hated that word. And you're gonna turn around and say that we should embrace the word? It's our word. We gave it power. And you hear one of our wonderful ancestors, Marcus Garvey, say that we should get rid of that word. It's evil and it has done a lot of damage. People, I swear, some of our people are out to lunch. They need to wake up, and they need to wake up real quick. Now, I just showed you what the Muslim brother has said. You could tell he was definitely against it. Irritated Gene, he was definitely getting it. The Honorable Marcus Garvey, he against it. So, that word holds a lot of weight. It holds a lot of weight. A lot of weight. You think it don't, but it does. So, I guess we're about to close out after 2 hours. And I want to give my two brothers, let them have their little closing statements and, whatever you want to say, and we can just definitely close out.
Okay, no doubt, bro. Man, appreciate the invitation. And, this is a very informative show, concerning the issue that has been debated, man, for quite some time amongst the Black community, man. But, I just hope this at the end of the day. I mean, we all know that we're going to have a certain demographic of Black people who will continue to use this word. Those of us who have been awakened, to a higher level of consciousness and understand the historical significance as well as the disrespect that it means, to our ancestry, to our people. At the end of the day, man, we just gonna have to figure out something, man. But I know I can only speak for myself and others who are trying to learn. I'm not going to promote that word. I'm not going to promote that word. I'm not going to look at that word as a term of endearment. I mean, the Mexican Porky Pig, Fat Joe, man. I've never been a Fat Joe fan. I've never been a fan of Latino hip hop. So I'll definitely will never purchase any of his albums, man. He won't be getting a red cent from me. Like, we need to take, that's why I was talking to my brother guy earlier about, man, we need to get more conscious rappers. But like my brother was saying, we need conscious rappers who are going to be revolutionary. You got to have some gangster up in there with it. And the white man disrespects our people. Like, we got to make songs go on witch hunts for George Zimmermans, the George Zimmermans of the world.
Yep.
You know, we got to stand up, man, and, you know, become men. Because a lot of us, I don't know, I mean, it's just a lack of access to information. But some of us just out of pure ignorance. And like both of my brothers have already agreed to, we got so many of these Negroes who are the gatekeepers. You know, they're the gatekeepers. I mean, it's the same as the days that black people walked on a plantation. We always had house Negroes. We always had house Negroes inside, you know, tap dancing for table scraps, you know, doing, you know, anything, you know, just to get a bigger pat on the head from, you know, their white boss. We had you know, there were house Negroes on the plantation, man, that sold out a lot of slave rebellions, that went back and, you know, told some of the secret locations to escape slaves. So we still battle with this element inside the black community today. Like brothers who are just ignorant and not aware. Some of those we can try to help, but some people are perfectly conscious as to what's going on. They just choose to do something different. They choose to do something different because inside of this society, you get rewarded. You know, you get rewarded to furthering the black on black genocide rates. You get rewarded for, you know, disrespecting black women and disrespecting the elders and the children. That comes with the prize, man. So we just need to continue this fight, continue to carry the torch that was lit, you know, by our ancestors, by our freedom fighters, man, our abolitionists, you know, our revolutionaries. So on that note, man, thanks for bringing me onto the show, and I will allow my brother Bakari, man, to say his closing statements. Peace.
This was an excellent show. First, let me start over. I would like to thank you for inviting me to join your panel. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank the chat for joining. Thank y'all for joining and being active in the chat. Now, this was an excellent show. It was powerful. It was a much needed show. Hopefully, this show can be shared and more people can learn, and we can do what we can do to respect one another, to respect our brothers and sisters. You know, so we know we're not going to deal with everybody. So I just respect you from a distance by not being around you. But I don't have to be around. But I'm not going to call you that. So that's the thing. That's the biggest thing. We have allowed people to teach us not to respect ourselves. You know, it has gone from we use the N word. I saw a guy yesterday, man. His pants was down so damn low. It's like it go together. I could see the stains in his underwear. And it goes together, the N word and sagging pants. You know, I'm not calling them the N word, but I'm just saying it goes together. You wearing your pants down by your knees. What's up, man? What's up, man? Then just till I'm gonna kill that knee. I hate that knee. Let's, you know, so it was a good show. And once again, I thank y'all and anybody in the chat. Y'all can find me on my channel at Brother Bakari. And if you haven't subscribed, go visit my channel, check out some of my videos, and subscribe. Thank you once again, Brother Guy Nollywood Jr. and Brother CJ.
I just want to thank y'all brothers for coming on and helping me make this program successful. Because we're just trying to do right. We're trying to do right. And we want to put things, we're trying to get into our natural state. Now, no one can rebuttal this program. No one cannot rebuttal this program. No one can justify the N-word of using the N-word. You can't. You can't. Even if you wanted to, you wouldn't be able to because you got to go. You would have to explain. You can't justify without explaining the history of that word. So again, this is you know, what we're doing. We teaching and educating our people doing right and living right and spiritually, and because sometimes words can really hold weight to our lives. It really does. Now, it doesn't feel good at all. Excuse me. It doesn't feel good at all if somebody coming around saying, yo, what's up, my nigga? What's up, my nigga? It doesn't feel, that you know in your spirit that word doesn't feel right. So you try to substitute it thinking, well, it's just a hip hop thing. Or it's just a quote unquote subculture. I'm not going to allow any degeneracy to be part of my culture. We can't go by rappers that was teenagers or in their early 20s and use their way of what they say as value. They were kids. We all been there. We all been young. We do stupid things. We say stupid things. But as we get older, we should know better. It's just common sense. It's common sense. So when people quote rappers like Tupac was only in his early 20s. Do you honestly think Tupac, at the age of 40, he gonna think as he did when he was in his 20s? Do you honestly believe that? I don't even think the same when I was in my 20s. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. So we got to stop doing that. Those rappers back in those days, they were young. They were young. You know, and they would say, if you look at the rappers now, they'll say, hey, we were young and dumb. We didn't know any better. If I would have known now what I know then, I wouldn't do half of the things I did when I was young. They saying it now. Look at the rappers now today that's still alive. They're not doing that stuff no more. They tell you the past. Hey, we was young and we did a lot of crazy stuff. As we get older, we know better now. We don't do things like that no more. You know, listen to Snoop Dogg when he's saying he changed. He's not the Snoop Dogg that I knew when he was in his 20s and late teens. So, you know, a lot of the times people want to try to justify those people back in the days. I'm like, no, that they were young and dumb. So we got to stop doing that. We got to stop doing that. Learn from your ancestors. Don't learn from entertainers. Learn from your ancestors. What did they say? What did Marcus Garvey say? What did Malcolm say? What did Khalid Muhammad say? I mean, come on. Enough is enough. So no, that N-word has no weight. We don't own the word. I want to make that perfectly clear. We do not own the word because that's an English word. We're not English people. We don't even own the language. So I don't get mad when white people use it. I don't get mad. I just tell them there's consequences when they do use it. There's consequences. That should have been an automatically ass whipping. When they use the word, you say, yo, use the word, I'm going to give you an ass whooping. That's it. I'm not going to even get mad. It's going to be a natural ass whooping. That's it. That's it. And that goes, and like I said, like I said again, is one thing that you don't know. I'm not gonna get mad at people that don't know. I'm only after the ones that do know. You know that word is wrong. And those are the people that I'm after. There's, you know, a lot of youth that hear the word, they think it's natural. And it's our job as parents or elders or whatever to say, look, that word, you know, and let them know the origin of that word. Say, look, you know, it's our job is to correct them. It's our job is to correct them. So I hope whoever watched this video or will watch, I hope y'all learn something. Because we're here to teach. We're teachers. Teachers are leaders. And our job is to create leaders. We don't want followers. We want leaders. We're looking for leaders. We're growing leaders. Okay, so I just hope people enjoyed this program. Hope y'all learned something. Thanks to the chat. Y'all was definitely, like my brother said, just want to say thanks to Erica Howard. I'm just going to mention some names here. And Lakeisha M. Thank you for joining us. Who else? Who else? I know Forecast. Thank you for coming through, supporting us. Black First. Thank you. So I definitely want to thanks to the chat. Thanks to the ones, and I want to appreciate the ones who watched the program. Thank you for watching. And again, please, let's really control what we say. We gotta control what we say. All right. So again, thanks to the chat. Thanks to my brothers on the panel, and we will meet again. All right. Peace and love.